Hey guys, this is Ganon23000, and this has been a long-awaited video.
The Zelda timeline analysis.
Now before we get started, let's clarify something here. This is the official timeline. This is not a theory of mine. This timeline was released in Hyrule Historia. If you don't know what that is, look it up. And it is endorsed by Nintendo and was approved by Nintendo. This is the timeline. And of course, we're going to be going over every Zelda game that is in the timeline, and we're going to have to explain why it's there. So, this is your spoiler alert.
You have been warned.
Now let's get going. So the timeline begins with the newly released Legend of Zelda and the Skyward Sword. In this game, we find the true creation of Hyrule and discovery of Hyrule, as Link defeats Demise and saves Zelda. Now the theory is that in the end of Skyward Sword, Zelda wishes on the Triforce that she and Link will remain together forever. Therefore, they keep on being reincarnated and being pit against Ganondorf, or the reincarnation of Demise, as he describes to you that his hatred will live on in other people. So the timeline continues with Minish Cap, and then it goes into Four Swords, and then the infamous Ocarina of Time. Now, before the timeline was released, it was supposed that Ocarina of Time split into two timelines, the child side and the adult side, but that's not true. It actually splits into three sides, with the child and the adult timeline. But there is also a third option, in which you die in Ocarina of Time. That leads to the, there is no hero timeline there. So, in the Hero is Defeated division of the timeline, there is A Link to the Past, they get rid of Ganon, blah blah blah, they get the Triforce, all is normal. Then both of the Oracle games, Zelda 1, Zelda 2, and then that's the end of that part of the timeline. Now the Hero Lives timelines, we'll start with the Child era. It goes into Majora's Mask, because naturally Majora's Mask is the direct sequel from Ocarina of Time. Then Twilight Princess, then Four Swords Adventures, and that ends there. Now the final division of the timeline, Hero Lives, and the Adult Era, where Zelda's left alone with no more Link. We go into Wind Waker, where Ganondorf is able to come back, so the goddesses have no choice but to flood all of Hyrule. Phantom Hourglass, then Spirit Tracks. So that's the official timeline. This is what Nintendo said. You cannot argue this. This is legit. But there are still a few problems with the timeline, and we're going to go over that right now. Now, of course, not everything in the world is perfect. If it were, would we have to deal with Microsoft? And I'm just kidding, I kind of respect Microsoft, to an extent though. But now we're going to look at some of the problems I have with the timeline. Number one, after Ocarina of Time, you can have three types of splits. There's the two splits that we knew happened already. There's the child era and the adult era caused by, Zelda transporting back in time, blah blah blah. We've heard that before, but there's a third timeline now, and it happens when Link dies, or you get a game over. Now let's think about this for a second. Why does that only happen in Ocarina of Time? Can't you die in all of the other Zelda games? Why do you create another timeline just by dying in Ocarina of Time? If this worked for every game, we'd have more timelines than we could count. Why does dying in Ocarina of Time, why is that the only one that creates another timeline?
It just doesn't make sense.
2. The Oracle games. Now, they say you can interchange the Oracle games according to which one you play first. But isn't a timeline supposed to be, clear-cut, this is it? You shouldn't be able to change it according to how the player goes about playing the games. Yes, you can link the games together, but what, are they happening at the same time? Or, which ending do we use? It just doesn't make any sense. Bullshit. Now lastly, lots of Zelda fans have said that by Nintendo's releasing the timeline, they've really lessened their availability to making new games. Not really. If you actually look at the timeline, there's several gaps that can be filled between games. And they can always add new Zelda games to the end of each little tangent of the timeline. The only thing they can't do is have Ganon in the adult era because he was turned into a rock in Wind Waker. There's still plenty of opportunity to make new games. Well guys, it's about time I wrap this all up. So thank you for watching. If you have anything to say about the Zelda timeline, if you have a problem with it, if you agree with it, if you have your own idea, leave a comment, share the video, message me, and that's about it really. So I'll see you next time guys. Thank you very much.